episode 330 of Gintama is in the books, and surprisingly, this arc gets resolved pretty quickly. So 2 episodes in, this arc has already been resolved. It focuses heavily on Kagura, but like I predicted, she still doesn't understand romance all that much, but she has a greater understanding for loving the people she cares about. So, like I predicted, they kind of ripped off Attack on Titans if you put the pieces together last week. So we get some more clarification about who this Titan is, and we actually get to find out it was actually the princess who introduced the Titan and Kagura to begin with. So, but I guess the daughter of the former shogun. So I guess the only plot twist is finding out the giant, or the prince of the Titans in this case, turned out to be an obsessive freak. Clearly has no idea of the concept of how to deal with rejection, which he did in this episode. Kidnaps Kagura, or attempts to, and tries to have a wedding while she's unconscious. So a person who has a crush, doesn't get his way, brings a school of Titans to your planet to try and bully your way to actually arranging this marriage, by the way. So this guy is completely obsessed with getting married with Kagura, and the way she got introduced with him is by kicking him around, by wrecking him up, because obviously they went into sparring sessions during the day, and then the Prince of the Titans pretty much mentions to Kagura, listen, when we get hooked up, we can actually spar it now as well. And Kagura says, pretty much, I'm not interested. So she has no concept of love, which on top of that breaks this guy's world, and then he goes to complete obsessive mode and tries to abduct Kagura. So that's where things fly off the handle. It starts off with Umebozu and I guess Gintoki trying to find ways to actually communicate with this guy, because obviously it's very awkward. This Titan or giant crashing on your household. He's going to say he's going to marry Kagura, and then you obviously get the first impressions are everything, right? But then he kind of flips it by not only is he obsessive, but he's also abusive to women, because obviously he has no respect for women because he's talking down on Kagura. It's like, oh, shut up, you. That's kind of where the wheels kind of fell off the bus there. But there's a big world out there in the universe, so you'll find love somewhere else. But that's not for me. So write to me, so see you later. So that's pretty much where she showed him the door, and he didn't take that very too kindly. So that kind of got resolved. I heard about this after I made the review last week, when the comedy-like arcs that we've got coming up were supposed to take place, well, at least in the manga, they took place before the previous major arc, which involved Kagura, Kamui, and Umebozu, and I believe the Farewell Shinsugumi arc. So it took place between those arcs and now. So this arc has already been wrapped up, because by that in the preview, Katsura is serving ramen to get our job. So that's going to be good to see Katsura again. So this arc has already been wrapped up, and I'm pretty sure they're going to change up the visuals, because there was no marriage. I mean, the giant came pretty close, and Kagura got gassed out. He literally had the big vicar. So he had this whole thing arranged. He had this UFO ship coming down. It was pretty much a Titan invasion, and they even said, which I called last week, Attack of the Titans. So there you go. So they came down like a herd, and they kind of bulldozed their way throughout Edo, just destroying houses left and right, saying, yeah, we're picking up this girl, don't try to stop us. And then this is where things get weird, because I guess that one of the giants kind of made an altar because they made a cross, because they threw a lamppost. Obviously, she was unconscious. So there you go. So that's what happens when obsession creeps up. So it happens all the time, and unfortunately, it happens in the real world. So people act this way when they get too obsessed for their own good. So he's about to plant a kiss on Kagura, but before then, Shinpachi comes in with a save. So that was kind of literally saved the day, and pretty much has the best quote of the entire episode, in my opinion, when he's literally laying down the law to this giant. Listen, your obsession ways went over the line, because obviously you have feelings for Kagura, but you trampled all over feelings. Even though I don't think Kagura has that understanding yet. So, but you get where Shinpachi is coming from. So obviously a deep conversation, and obviously he made the reference to obviously Gintoki being Umebozu is placing Kagura under Gintoki's care, because obviously he trusts Gintoki's strength, and Umebozu obviously holding back his tears in Shinpachi's own words because he wants to see his daughter happy. So that's a part of growing up and actually. So that was kind of cool. So obviously Shinpachi gets kind of ticked off when he's saying this. But then he's like, "Yo, shut up! I'm taking Kagura. I'm bailing. I'm hauling ass because I want out of here. So he goes up to the UFO ship, and you get a rain of blood, right? And right as that, you're like, okay, we're at Gintoki Umibose, and in the ship are waiting. I think Shinpachi actually kind of foreshadowed it because he said they're not the ones you should be afraid of. It's Gintoki and Umibose you should be afraid of. They kind of knocked the giant off the ship, pretty much down to the ground. They insult Kagura, and she does the same thing to them. So that pretty much gets resolved almost immediately. I should say Shinpachi sent the giants into the vicar that was supposed to oversee the marriage. And they obviously had obviously the case to obviously inadvertently at that point, but after she sends a final letter to Kagura saying he's turned over a new leaf. Looks like he found a new love in his life, and it turns out to be the priest or the vicar. So there you go. I mean, way of working themselves out. So obviously this arc kind of got resolved, and like I said, Kagura kind of expect something new, but obviously she has no concept of love when it comes to, unless it comes to the people she cares about. So that's pretty much got resolved. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Like this review if you did appreciate that. Comment down what you thought about this episode, and subscribe to the channel for more Gintama. Catch you guys later. Bye.